to know there ain't no heaven. Oh Lord, there ain't no heaven. There ain't no heaven.
Evening all, I realised I owe you a couple of extra videos, so here's the first one. So a couple of people challenged me after I went on Liana's dialogue options video as to why I didn't go in more forcefully about the men's issues that I brought up, particularly circumcision. It's not what I was there to do. I was there hoping for a fair shake and to be able to say my piece. And I was invited on, and you show respect to the person you're there with. I wasn't there to argue about men's issues. I'm interested in men's issues, but as an egalitarian, not necessarily as a men's rights activist, despite my association with honey badgers and others, who I respect a great deal, even if we disagree on certain points. So that's not what I was there for. And I know Liana's Jewish, and I didn't want to press the point there and cause an upset or anything. But obviously this is something that I disagree with Liana about, so here's what I think. She's right in that there's a conflict there between different freedoms. Religious freedom is held by some people to be very important. Now, as an atheist, I am willing to go along with that to a degree, but as in most things, I hold to the harm principle. That is, the only really acceptable reason to restrict someone's freedom is when there's harm. Now, in my opinion, based on the information that I've seen, based on the data that I've seen, based on the studies that I've read, there is harm in circumcision. There's mutilations, and I use that word fully knowing what it means. It is a mutilation, but there's worse that happens. You know, there's kids that have their penises amputated. There's infections. There's the spread of diseases such as herpes and so on from certain religious practices around doing this. There's no real evidence to support that this has any significant protections that people like to claim for it, such as penile cancer prevention or AIDS or other STDs. This doesn't appear to be true to any significant degree, certainly not enough to compensate for the number of kids and so on that are harmed or mutilated or later in life find their sexual pleasure reduced or suffer from keratinization or botches, even deaths that result from this kind of thing. So I don't think there's sufficient justification in these rather questionable medical claims to excuse doing it. Now, imagine we could wave a magic wand and nobody would ever be mutilated or die from a botched circumcision ever again. Would I allow it then? No. It's still unnecessary harm being done to an infant who can't say, yes, I'm okay with this. That's it. It's unnecessary harm. You'd still have these other problems such as sexual issues and so on later on that some people have. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who has a circumcision suffers these problems. And this is part of the problem. People who have successful circumcisions and don't run into any issues and don't remember the harm that was done to them tend not to see an issue. And they get quite defensive because it's their body, that's how it is. But we have to look beyond that. We have to look to the fate of these infants. And it is a men's issue, and it is an equality issue, because even the mildest form of female circumcision, which is not that different to male circumcision, it is banned and controlled. So there's definitely an inequity here in that we don't treat boys, young boys, baby boys, with the same respect and physical integrity and security that we treat young girls. So there's an obvious disparity, an obvious inequality. There is harm being done, and I do not see religious justification as being any sort of justification whatsoever. And that's the long and the short of it as far as I'm concerned. It causes harm. Enough said. Zang. If you like what I do here, please like, subscribe, share on your social media, and if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon at Grimatube. My main website is postmortemstudios.wordpress.com, and there, or on Twitter, you can keep up with me and everything that I'm doing.